if you don't know or haven't read One Piece, chapters 1 to 100 are the East Blue Saga. So all of this part takes place, and we really get the main core of the Straw Hats in these chapters.
Yeah.
So we're going to go through it arc by arc.
So Romance Dawn arc is the first arc. I believe it's like 8 chapters or something.
Yes, it's 7 chapters.
I don't know how the first chapter starts. Is it where Luffy's like super young and then they're in the tavern with Shanks?
it's when he first meets Shanks, but
he's already known Shanks, but Shanks is there with his crew.
Shanks is there with him, and he accidentally eats the devil fruit because he thinks it's a food.
Yeah,
and Shanks is like, "What?
What'd you do?
Why'd you do that, kid?
Spit that out."
Yeah, exactly. And it's funny because Luffy's like, "Oh, I was practicing my swimming so I could be a pirate," and Shanks is like, "No, now you can't swim ever."
I was like, to me,
funny?
Yeah, to me, I was like, that's such a big like not letdown, a big anchor.
Yeah,
that's like such a big,
especially in a world with so much water.
Yeah, I was like, this is gonna come up a lot. It didn't. Well, at least in these 100 chapters, it didn't come up as much of an issue because, like, they're always on a boat, and then they have to land at some point. Yeah. So it's not like they have to swim everywhere. But I'm like, that is gonna be a big problem in the future for people who obviously.
Do you like, from what you've seen so far, do you like the power system of Devil Fruit?
I mean, it hasn't introduced itself as a power system because usually with most manga stories in general, they always delve in. Not always, but they tend to like explain the rules and like, oh, you're at this level kind of, and you can only do this and that. But Luffy just starts like doing things. Like he just starts stretching. What's his devil fruit? It's rubber
the
or something?
Gomu no Mi, or the rubber fruit.
Yeah, so he can stretch. He's like Mr. Fantastic.
Yeah.
But he can't like make shapes or like alter like his.
Well, he can make like his hand like a big puffball. He's kind of like Popeye. He's like him.
I was thinking it was gonna end up something like Jake the Dog from Adventure Time, where he can shape his like fist into like different things. But this isn't really like that. It might get like that in the future. But as of right now, he can stretch a lot and kind of make himself puffy big if he wants. But it never talks about what rules there are, what the boundaries are. So it doesn't overload you with that information yet. So
I like how simple, because it is,
this is simple.
From its
like,
heart, it is a manga for kids.
Yeah.
I forgot who said it, but one of my favorite quotes is, "A children's story that can't be enjoyed by everyone is not a good children's story." And I completely agree
like
with
Pixar.
that.
Yeah, basically.
Exactly.
Now,
before we move on, because it's going to be a while, what do you think about Shanks?
He's cool.
Good.
We saw like 2 chapters with him, right?
Yeah.
But I know how big he is, like considering it's always a meme of like, oh, Shanks, he's such a cool guy, but he's like barely in the story. Like all I know of him is reading a magazine or something.
It's like chapter 1. Oh boy, I can't wait till we learn more about Shanks. Chapter 1034. Oh boy, I can't wait till we learn more about Shanks.
Honestly, if I didn't know who Shanks or how important Shanks apparently is, I would have forgotten about him.
Yeah.
Because he is an inspiration of Luffy, and is the reason why he wants to be a pirate.
Yeah.
And he gives him Shanks gives Luffy his straw hat, his treasure.
That chapter, that panel is still one of my favorite in One Piece, is when he's giving him the hat. Shanks loses an arm and he's like, whatever. He's like, it's okay. Like, who cares?
Does Luffy take like a rowboat out? I forget how.
Oh, well, yes, they do. So remember, he gets caught by Alvida, who is the pirate with the Texas hat, and she's fat.
Yeah, she's not hot yet.
She's not hot yet.
But you reminded me of.
And they find Kobe there.
Yeah, Kobe is the kid who wants to be a Marine. Well, he worked for Alvida, right?
Worked.
He was a slave.
He was a slave.
Yeah, okay. I don't know. I can't remember.
He was
without
their,
any money.
He was
paid.
their navigator.
Okay.
Forcibly so. But he wanted to become a Marine.
They end up at the new town at Shell's Town, and he finds Zoro there.
Yeah.
And when I read him as Zolo, I'm like, wait, is he not Zoro? Why are they calling him Zolo?
It's because in Japanese it is Zolo, but they would say it Zoro.
So will that change like as I read on? Like at some point they'll just start calling him Zoro on print, or does it always in the manga? Does it still refer to him as spelled as Zolo? I'm reading on the official Shonen Jump.
They still have it as Zolo.
Okay. But in my mind, when I read it now, it's just like, oh, it's Zoro.
Yeah, exactly.
So with an R. So, but he's tied up, not in prison, but he's like just arrested.
He's tied up, getting ready to be executed.
Okay, yeah. And then there's a little girl that's feeding him, which is nice, giving him food. Eventually, Luffy comes along with Kobe, and then don't know what drives Luffy to save him, but he eventually ends up
because Luffy thinks he's so cool that he wants him to join his crew.
Yeah.
So he
Yeah.
saves him. Zoro, when he gets freed, what did you think about his three sword style? Like, what was the you thought about the first time you
That's
saw
not
it?
real. That can't work in real life. That is impossible to hold a katana in your mouth and hit people with it without breaking your teeth in.
Yeah.
But it looks cool.
Yeah.
He's a bounty hunter at first.
Yeah, he's a pirate hunter.
He's a
you
pirate
know.
bounty hunter, yeah.
But I always think it's so fascinating because when he, breaks out and he's like, I'm going to become the greatest swordsman on the sea. Are you okay with that? And Luffy's like, bruh, the Pirate King needs that. Come on.
Yeah. Yeah, that is
yeah.
cool. He's like already included him.
Yeah.
I love it when Luffy like wants someone to join. Like, hey, you're cool. You're gonna be in my crew, and they're like,
Yeah.
no. He's like, too late. You're gonna be in my crew.
Isn't it funny when he's like, we need a musician, and like,
Yeah, he's
and
always
like,
saying
yeah,
musician
and
first
Nami's
before-
like, dude, we need so many other people before we need a musician.
He's like, we need a musician before he even has a boat.
Yeah, exactly.
But I like how immediately Zoro kind of respects Luffy as a person,
Yeah.
and throughout this entire saga, you see him just kind of does what Luffy says without question, and does things on his own even when Luffy's not around because
Yeah.
it's what Luffy wants. So Zoro's just cool. He doesn't lose. Well, he loses one fight, I think,
Yeah.
but he never like loses like ever. He
Yeah.
just manages to.
He's the captain's right hand.
Yeah, because he just respects Luffy. He does like his stuff without question. Obviously, like there's arguments here and there. There's like a fight between the Marines, and Zoro's able
Do
to
you
break.
remember who the villain of this arc was?
Isn't it like the son of a mayor or something like that?
Well, Helmepo is like, he has like a comb over.
bowl
and
cut.
Yeah, but he's not the villain. He's just,
The son of the villain.
yeah, but he's misguided, because he
He's
ends
a
up,
snobby rich
yeah,
guy, right?
he ends up being nice to Kobe at the end.
Yeah, I see them in the cover.
yeah.
I see them both in the cover.
Oh
chapters.
yes, there's cover chapters with Kobe.
With-
But no, the main villain of this arc was Axe Hand Morgan, as the big guy with an axe hand, and his whole thing was that he had an axe as a hand.
Yeah. Yeah. One thing
Yeah.
Yeah, and they fight with him, and eventually they break free. But one thing I was getting into this, what I really appreciated is it doesn't look like it's age. There's a lot of reasons why I never got into One Piece, but when I looked at One Piece, I saw it as the anime, and it just looked like an old anime. I just can't.
Yeah.
I mean, that seems like a bad reason to shoot down a reason for watching anime, but another reason why I never picked it up, the manga or the anime, because it looked, just older. But what impressed me most is that the art style looks clean and it looks new.
Yeah.
Maybe not the style in terms of like how the characters are drawn and the world is, but I mean like how it looks like it's clean and it doesn't look its age. It looks a lot better than like some mangas that I
Yeah.
see come out today.
Yeah.
And it looks well drawn enough for me to not notice its age, so I'm reading it like with ease, like
Yeah, as One Piece goes on, it does get a little bit more messy. Just that comes with Oda's how much time he has.
Yeah.
because he's the god of One Piece. Is doing everything.
These first 100 chapters, just look. It's super easy to follow in terms of action and like the way it's all formatted.
Yeah.
So I really appreciate that because a lot of modern mangas can't do it. And you say
Right.
that eventually, gets a bit more messy. But at least now, I'm enjoying it. It looks good. Yeah, they get Zoro as one of the Straw Hat pirates, and then Kobe says he wants to become a Marine and says like,
Yeah.
"You're eventually." He tells Luffy eventually they're going to become enemies, but he respects that they're going to choose their paths, and like Luffy
Yeah.
respects his, which I really appreciate.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty sure obviously we're going to run into them at some point.
Maybe
They'll be rivals. Maybe we don't. That seems like the perfect setup since they're
Yeah.
both since the Marines and pirates are obviously
Yeah.
two budding forces.
What I think One Piece does really good is that there are good and bad people on both sides. It's never, pirates are bad and the Marines are good. It's never like that. Obviously, because our main characters are
Yeah.
pirates,
I like that.
yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll see. We'll see what happens.